Just play a game. How did you become an immortal? Introduction. Makino, with his game system soul, pierces through the cultivation world and becomes a miscellaneous disciple who does not enter the mainstream sect. With no hope of becoming an immortal, he simply puts on a show and immerses himself in the game world, liver exploding. In reality, he is a low-level cultivator who mines, weeds, and cultivates fields every day, living a mediocre life like a 996 immortal. In the game, he kills all directions, and in sword-sealing demons, he splits 10 demons with one knife, becoming the savior of the world. Under the heavenly sky, he practiced the true martial arts Dharma body and smashed the heavenly sky with one punch, earning the title of Taixu Wuzu, beasts and heavenly harmony, transforming giant beasts to devour heaven and earth, governing all directions of the beast race, becoming the supreme among beasts. Keep the liver alive until one day. Oh, how did I become a fairy? Chapter 1. Game Park. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dang 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 dang. In the dimly lit mine, the rhythmic tapping sounds varied in depth. After a long time. Dang. With a strong and powerful impact sound, the scorching crystals were born like newborn babies. Makino's hands were quick, and he patted the storage bag around his waist, then put this crystal-like dragon fruit into his bag. The red glow shone through the old bag cloth, reflecting a handsome cheek stained with stains but with sharp edges. It's been 5 days, and I only dug a piece of red inflamed stone. Makino picked up his mining pick and counted the time. It should be around 8 o'clock now. It's time to get off work, he said, carrying a storage bag. Makino twisted around in the mine, but after 10 breaths, he walked to the entrance of the cave. At the entrance of the cave, a middle-aged man dressed in a green shirt stood as a guard. As Mai walked out, he couldn't help but frown and ask. "Pastor, are you leaving now?" "Yeah, it's not a rule in our Xianxia sect. We, the miscellaneous cultivators, will be on duty at the end of the day." Makino pointed to the sundial next to the middle-aged man and said, "Manager Su, this scale is correct, isn't it?" That's right, Manager Su scolded, "but everyone else is working hard to mine and earn spiritual stones, so you just left like this." Makino scratched his head and thought for a moment. So, should I ask them to go together? Manager Su. You kid. Manager Su shook his head and said, "With only one layer of chi cultivation, you don't even work hard to earn spiritual stones for cultivation. You always want to be lazy. It's really not laziness." Makino pointed to himself with a bitter face. "Manager Su, this mining requires the use of the golden blade technique, otherwise this mining pickaxe cannot be dug. You are a great cultivator who cultivates 6 levels of chi, and you can use it for 3 days and 3 nights without taking a breath. But I only have 1 level, and I can only use it for half a day if I hold on to death, and the spiritual power in my body will be exhausted. Not only is the efficiency of forced excavation low, but it also wastes the extra time supply given to us by the Xianxia sect. I leave work on time, which is also for the sake of the sect's expenses." Manager Su was taken aback and couldn't speak for a moment. "Think carefully. It seems that there is some truth to it." Taking advantage of Su Guanqi's stunned moment, Mu Yi slipped out directly. The afterglow of the sunset poured down, pulling out a tall shadow behind the pasture. The air outside is still comfortable. Makino took a deep breath and saw the towering mountains in the distance, surrounded by low dense forests. This is the Qinghe mine under the throne of the Xianxia sect in the eastern wilderness immortal cultivation realm. Taking a few big breaths, Makino sighed and muttered to himself. "I've been breathing for a long time, and that's how it feels. If I were on Earth, I would have been drinking cola, eating fried chicken, watching TV dramas and videos by now, right? No, the Tears of the Kingdom will be released soon, and the Breaking Iron has also been publicly tested. I've been traveling before I even played it. It's too bad. Let's forget about time travel. Before time travel, I was at least a dilapidated house with a car and a house. After time travel, I became a fairy tale version of the social animal 996 miscellaneous disciple. Every day, either mining or weeding, who can bear it? At the thought of this, Makino felt speechless in his heart. Whispering, Makino walked to the river and took a bath. The spiritual power has been exhausted and he cannot perform the cleansing technique. This pure and natural cleansing method is even more to his taste. After washing, I returned to the Qinghe mine shed. Many stone houses made of earth and stone blocks have been built here, adjacent to the mine and stretching into pieces, similar to the employee dormitories on Earth, but just war-damaged versions. Everything else is pretty good, but there aren't any entertainment activities. Cultivating immortals is really boring. Based on months of observation by Makino, most of the miscellaneous disciples are the most ordinary miscellaneous spiritual roots and have no cultivation qualifications at all. For the Xianxia sect, the miscellaneous workers are like outsourced riders of the Meituan, who are not formal disciples and do not have much sect benefits. The room for improvement is about 0. Sometimes, after several months of hard work earning such a small amount of spiritual stone, the only entertainment activity is to go to the nearby Xianxia building in the neighborhood and exchange it for a shiver. If you work hard, just work hard to mine, then save some spirit stones, do some talismanship making, alchemy in other side jobs, and live on. Those who are not afraid of death will team up to find opportunities to hunt monsters outside, collect resources, and attempt to become wealthy, with the highest mortality rate. When crossing through the wilderness, my predecessor was exhausted from the hard work of mining. Makino admires this kind of effort monster. Even though I know my own qualifications are so low, I am still working hard to improve. If it were a different world, maybe I could still make it through. In this world of immortality and chivalry, where the vast majority of resources are controlled by personal force, and even low-level players cannot turn over even if they control power. Let's just forget it. Without golden fingers, how to live comfortably and honestly. At this moment, Makino is lying on a cool stone bed, feeling bored. If you want to cultivate, it's really difficult to make any progress in the qualifications of your 5 series miscellaneous spiritual roots after practicing for several years. The cultivation method is the most common form of cultivation. The technique of adding rotten streets to the 5 series of miscellaneous spiritual roots is purely a buff stacking technique. Practicing one layer of chi can even get you stuck, there's really no one left. If there were any skilled golden fingers, Makino felt like he could still work hard to save them. Unfortunately not. This cultivation lasts for a whole week, and there is very little spiritual power absorbed and refined. When it comes to cultivation, it is purely a case of blind people wandering around the kiln and making a few reckless moves. Suddenly, Makino seemed to remember something. By the way, I don't know if it's loaded yet. A heart movement. A strange game interface appeared in Makino's sight. The interface was pitch black, with only a few words displayed in the middle. Game part loading, currently 99%. I didn't expect to travel with me, and this terrible game. Looking at this interface, Makino's face was full of strangeness. This is a strange game called Game Life. On the night of his travels, he found a DOM trial invitation email for this game in the spam folder in his mailbox. What are the called open world, multiple gameplay, free exploration, super engine, realistic body feeling anyway? I have already boasted about all the gimmicks on the market. This kind of Makino can tell at a glance that it is either a skin-changing game promoted by marketing accounts, or a dumb game that claims to be made in China and outsources chocolate with a hidden Xiang flavor. I wasn't interested at first, but there are a few ancient girls who are quite appetizing in the game poster on the email. Then let's criticize it by the way. So, I clicked to agree to the invitation, and then I traveled through it. And this game interface has been loading on zhaozuiyuan.com since time travel. If it weren't for Golden Finger, just play the game for me. Makino thought to himself. At this point, I saw a slight movement of the numbers on the panel. 100%. Loading completed. A few words dimmed. A ink-like ancient painting slowly emerges, in which a black-clad man wearing a bamboo hat holds a long sword and stands at the highest point of the city tower, overlooking the various buildings below. Cut-off animation. Yoshitaka Makino. It is well organized and stylish. Suddenly, there was a loud roar from the sky, and the black-clad hero leaped down from the summit like a swallow in the wind and rain. The fleeting black shadow appeared in all the surrounding scenes, sweeping past the street vendors and soldiers, and the roof tiles of the alley. Finally, like a fish leaping out, the city below turned into a sandbox map. Until the thunder descended, dark clouds converged into a pitch-black hand, enveloping the entire ancient city. In mid-air, the man in black drew his long sword and struck down. The dark clouds dispersed, and the scene shattered in an instant. Everything began to gather, and finally two huge bronze ancient doors suddenly closed, as if a world had been closed, and the scene disappeared. And on the bronze ancient gate, there are 4 large characters engraved. Game Park. Makino happily finished reading it and felt it was okay. This cutscene's animation looks like a martial arts fantasy-style game. User binding. Binding successful. According to the user's situation, only the trial game Sword and Magic Sealing is currently open. Please clear the game tutorial level Undead of Taiping City to unlock more features in the future game park. Chapter 2. Sealing Demons in Chaotic Times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sword and Sword Sealing Demons. Makino was slightly taken aback and said, I have heard of the game Sword Sealing Demon record before. How could it be difficult to remake and merge it? But why haven't I heard of it? What are the subsequent features? This game is strange and bizarre. How did it start without power? How to operate a keyboard without a controller? But when I think of myself, it's because of this broken game that I travel through. If I understand it as a game system, it's reasonable. At this point, a strange pattern appeared in the upper right corner of the interface. The pattern shows the scene from the previous cutscene animation, with Wang Mu's thoughts slightly moving and the picture stretching, transforming into a desolate and dark ancient picture that covers the original bronze gate. Rows of handwriting slowly float onto the screen. At the end of the dynasty, demons descended, the world was chaotic and the order was imbalanced in the chaotic world. You can play the role of a wandering knight from all directions, or transform into a wandering thief in the streets and alleys. A peddler, a guide, a brothel prostitute, a wealthy young master, a street beggar. All have their abilities, slaying demons to establish a reputation, wandering in all directions to show loyalty, living a carefree life on the streets of the city. Your gaming life will be defined by yourself. Makino pinched his chin and pondered a few times, revealing a variety of character templates to choose from below. They are all in a pitch black and unlocked state, how do you choose? Makino continued to read and found that unlocking a profession requires the consumption of amusement park coins. Is it probably the built.in currency system of this game? Although not unlocked, it seems that some special abilities of these characters can also be seen. For example, the talent of a ranger. Eagerness for justice, initial reputation plus, friendliness plus. Grand theft. Soaring eaves and walls, light skill plus, unlocking lock-picking and theft abilities. Hawker. Initially carrying multiple items. Brothel clients. Wushan Yunyu, room skills plus. The amount of amusement park coins required to unlock varies greatly depending on professional abilities. For example, for a ranger, 50 park coins can unlock it, while a thief requires 100. The traffickers and soldiers only need 30. The requirements for brothel clients and wealthy young masters are relatively high, requiring 150 yuan. Why do brothel prostitutes want 150 yuan? Makino couldn't resist roast that it was just a trick in the room plus, when I have paradise coin, I must try the roll's gold content at the first time. Wait. Makino looked towards the one at the back. Street beggar, hidden. Isn't it, this beggar is still hidden. Makino shook his head, feeling that the game settings were unreasonable. How can a beggar character be hidden? Based on Makino's gaming experience, there is only one possibility, which is that the beggar's character's ability may be the strongest. Or has strong specificity. But now I can't even choose. Tutorial level, limited to using novice demon sealing people, demon sealing person, a Jianghu guest who takes it as their responsibility to seal demons and slay them, possessing special abilities such as Heart Eye Plus and Demon Subduing Body Mind. It can make you perceive the disguise of demons and also detect the circulation of special breath around you. Demon Subduing Body. The demon sealing person's body is sealed with special powers that can be activated when fighting against demons. Makino pondered, isn't this a common exploration ability in the game? After selecting this character, the screen zooms in and a man dressed in black attire and a bamboo hat, wearing a long sword on his waist and a large sword on his back, slowly stands from the city tower, ready to take action. It is somewhat similar to the opening animation. This should be the official character of the game. It looks quite handsome. Makino glanced at it a few times, and the more he looked, the more satisfied he became. It is truly a tutorial level, what is needed is a substitute. Not to mention other characters, as the protagonist of the enchanted character, at least he feels very handsome and has an impulse to experience it. Selection successful, please enter the role name. Muxing River. Tutorial level, the Undead of Taiping City opens, mission level opens, enter the game. After completing the selection, the demon sealing person on the city tower suddenly jumped out of mid-air, causing tearing and pulling in the space. If it looked a bit dizzy in 3D, it would still be a bit uncomfortable, but fortunately, it only took 2 or 3 seconds for the screen to freeze. The square-shaped bluestone floor, the wooden structure of ancient architecture, and the slightly tipsy morning light and shadow cast on the sink after rain, revealing the crowds coming and going. The shouting of the vendors mixed with the footsteps of the pedestrians on the street, coupled with the noisy sound, creating an ancient atmosphere of human fireworks. Amazing. Makino looked at the game screen and was slightly surprised. Everyone's facial expressions are different. They should all be captured using human movements, right? It's just that there are so many, and the amount of work is too large. With a movement of his mind, the demon sealing man began to slowly walk on the street. But at this level, it's not realistic, is it? At most, it's the level of AR glasses. Makino controlled the character to walk to a street vendor selling steamed buns. A message is displayed from the steamer. Meat buns. Can restore a small amount of stamina. Classic. Makino continued to control the character's movement, but before taking 2 steps, a box popped up in the upper right corner. Please use your mind. Mind. The game interface doesn't have many other features, only an eye pattern in the bottom right corner, which must be the mind eye ability. After use, the originally colorful screen immediately turns into black and white. There was only a pink breath, like the smoke curling up from the kitchen, wandering around the street without a trace. Discovering the demonic aura, please locate the demonic location and bind it. It's a bit interesting, Makino didn't search for it in the first place, but wandered around the city. This is a town called Taiping City, not too big, but also not too small. There are everything that should be in the city. Ulin. You can rest and inquire about news. Drunken Fragrance Tower. Can restore mood. Divine Fist Martial Arts School. You can learn secret martial arts. Blacksmith's Shop. After a brief stroll, basically all the facilities that Makino wanted were available. Unfortunately, Many residential buildings have tightly closed doors and seem unable to freely enter and exit, rummaging through boxes, cabinets, and picking up garbage. Like in games, some facilities are still inaccessible, such as the Divine Fist martial arts school that day. If you want to enter, you will be stopped by disciples outside the door. Who are you? What are you doing in my martial arts school? 1. Don't talk nonsense, I'm here to challenge the gym. 2. My martial arts skills are low, so I came to learn from my master. 3. Theft, unlocked ability. 4. I am a demon-sealing person. There is a demon in your martial arts school. Quickly open the door and let me in. Brother, you have a bag of coins that fell to the ground. Makino originally wanted to go in and take a look at this martial arts school. After careful consideration, based on his own identity, he chose the fourth option. Then the disciple's face suddenly changed outside the door, and several disciples immediately gathered around. Demonic words deceive the public. How could there be demons in my Divine Fist martial arts school? I see you look like demons. After finishing speaking, they immediately started fighting, and each of these disciples punched and kicked one by one, one after another, with a burst of golden light and unknown martial arts skills. 2 fists are difficult to defeat 4 hands. After dealing with 3 disciples of the martial arts school, the demon-sealing man collapsed to the ground, and the scene darkened. A bean-sized font appears. Death. Do you want to choose to read files? Makino. Is the strength value of this demon person so low? How many martial arts school disciples can't beat it? Damn it, I am also a cultivator who practices chi on a higher level. If this character is me. I still can't beat it, but just slip away, okay. Although that's the case, Makino feels that this game is quite interesting. So he read the file again and selected the remaining options. The first one starts directly, but it's even more unbeatable. The second one requires a recommendation letter, otherwise it will drive away and won't take action. The fifth one is interesting. After picking up the coins, the disciple would say, I only dropped this little coin. Then he was driven away, but it would prompt the martial arts school to be friendly +1, which means that if there is enough money, he can also enter. In fact, the fourth option should be possible. It's just that your reputation is not good enough. Although you are a demon-sealing person, you don't have any reputation. You can find the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, so they don't believe what you're saying. Since it's a tutorial level, it's better to follow the prompts. Reading the file again, Makino followed the information prompts and used his mental ability to turn left and right along the pink scent until he arrived at the door of a large courtyard. Looking up, 2 words were engraved on the plaque of the beam. Shen Mansion. It seems that this is the hiding place of the demon, said Makino thoughtfully. I already know the location of the demon, find a way to enter the Shen Mansion and search for the lurking demon. Makino pondered, looked over, and controlled the character to walk over. There are 2 servants and a butler in front of the door. May I ask who is your excellency, said the butler. 1. I am a demon-sealing person. Watching your Shen Mansion's demonic aura soar to the sky, I came here to seal off demons and eliminate them. Grandpa, I am your long-lost son. 3. Theft, unlocked ability. 4. A food delivery person. 5. At first glance at these options, Makino frowned slightly. I feel like there's no suitable one. The first option is the same as the previous martial arts school, and it is highly likely to be hit by a random stick. The second thing is that I don't look like others, and I don't have a friendly relationship, so I can't fool around. If you come from a vendor background and carry your own belongings, you may be able to choose the fourth option. Makino chose to leave and then looked around the Shen Mansion. While in the backyard, he discovered other options. Infiltration, insufficient lightness skills. My attempted to forcefully infiltrate, only to see the demon-sealing man leap forward and make a very obvious sound. He was immediately detected by the servants in the Shen mansion, who immediately surrounded the chaotic stick and beat him out. Makino. Chapter 3. Real Mode. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. There are many ways, but most of the conditions are not met by oneself as a demon sealing person. There should be other elements that were not noticed. Observe carefully. Mai came back to lead the gate of Shen mansion and observed for a while. Wait, these people seem to be all dressed in plain clothes. Makino's eyes lit up. In this situation, should someone have died? Tutorial level seems to be called the Undead of Taiping City. It seems necessary to inquire about other information about the Shen mansion. Thinking of this, Mai's heart moved and he went straight to the Uli Inn, ordered a pot of tea, drank it, and listened. As expected, soon there were constant sounds of theft around. Mrs. Shen from the Shen mansion is really pitiful. Just a few months after getting married, Great Xianxia died. Isn't that right? I heard that on the day of his wedding, Great Xianxia was invited to go to Taixu village to eliminate demons, but no one expected that the person would die. Those demons are really powerful. It's a pity that Lady Shen had a beautiful appearance that day, and now she has become a widow. I don't know how long the Shen family business of Noada can last in Taiping City. A rustling sound of discussion came in. Makino suddenly realized. I thought of. Makino controlled the character to stand up and head back to the Shen mansion. This time, the options changed. 1. Please report to Madame Shen that I am the demon-sealing person who fought alongside Great Xianxia in Taixu village. I passed through Taiping City and came to pay my respects to him. After choosing this option, the butler looked at it with suspicion and immediately sent someone to report to the Shen mansion. Not long after, a servant hurriedly walked out and murmured a few words in the butler's ear. The butler looked up and down at the latter and said, I see, please come in. After entering the Shen mansion, he first went to the front hall for worship. When he arrived at the front hall, Wuyi also saw the face of the Great Xianxia. Although it was a black and white portrait drawn with pen and ink, from his face, he was also a righteous and chivalrous person with a coffin placed in the middle. On both sides are the families of the Shen family, which seems to be not many. There are quite a few people who come and go to worship, and it is believed that the Shen family is a well-known family in Taiping City. As for Lady Shen, who exudes national beauty and heavenly fragrance, Wuyi did not see her. After lighting incense and offering sacrifices, he was arranged to wait in the side room for a banquet to be held and drink. At this point, information reappears. The demon is nearby. Once resolved, you can complete the task and end the tutorial level. Upon seeing the prompt, Makino directly used the heart eye, and the pink scent slowly appeared. But the next moment, suddenly, a noisy sound came from outside. Roars, screams, and curses kept coming and going, coupled with the piercing sound of gold and silver intertwined. It was easy to imagine that something had happened. Control the character and quickly leave the room, only to find that the servants outside are all red-eyed, wielding sticks and weapons as if they are crazy and chopping towards this place. These servants seem to be mentally disturbed. Makino glanced and judged that it should be caused by demons. I believe the demon lurking in the Shen mansion has also detected it. Only a little maid in a green dress and a rational one ran over and whimpered. Master Mu, hurry up, go. Leave the Shen mansion. The little maid just finished speaking and fell to the ground, taking a breath. Makino was taken aback and soon the following choices appeared. 1. Just a demon, what fear do I have? 2. A dog's life is crucial. Of course, there's no need to choose. Just do it and it's done. How can we run? However, as soon as they rushed out, the number of servants wave after wave. Soon, the demon-sealing man died tragically under the sticks of many servants' death, but it feels like we've fought through it. Makino pondered. These servants are not as strong as the disciples of those martial arts schools, and their strength is not as strong, and they are crazy. Makino recorded the attack methods and trajectories of these servants, reviewed them again, and after adapting a few times, he pulled out a large knife from his waist and easily solved dozens of servants without letting his clothes rot. But that's it. Makino smiled proudly. Of course, this is due to the role of the demon sealing man. As a demon sealing person, I still have some basic martial arts skills. Although, in the official introduction, they are only good at dealing with demons. But in the hands of players, even if they only know how to level A, they can still play soul games with hand and brain multiplication bonuses. Of course, it wouldn't be ideal if it were disciples of martial arts schools who know secret martial arts. The secret martial arts exhibited by those disciples are particularly powerful, and their attack intelligence seems to be higher, unlike these servants who are rigid. After solving these mentally disturbed servants, they returned to the front hall and saw a demon similar to a nine-tailed fox, about half a person tall. The devouring fox has appeared information display. This demon fox grinned its teeth and was extremely ferocious, with some remaining limbs in its mouth. While chewing, it let out a hissing laugh, looking extremely terrifying. Looking at the demon sealing person, the demon fox seemed to have anticipated it earlier. It pounced directly, spitting out a crimson blood gas that filled its mouth. You have been hit by the fox nightmare chi. The power of the demon sealing man was immediately reflected. It seems that there is a special attack on demons. Almost at the moment of appearance, the demon sealing person first cuts his palm with a knife, then draws the blood from his palm on his face, creating a ghostly face. Then, his whole body appears as if the switch is open, and a circuit-like red reflux appears. You have entered the state of demon subduing body. After entering this state, the demon sealing man's sword was blazing with fire, and Mu Yi controlled the character, chopping with pleasure. With a few strokes, he solved the human-devouring demon fox. Unfortunately, after the death of the human-devouring fox, the weapon of the demon-sealing person also shattered, and he himself was penetrated by the human-devouring fox, probably not far from death. You have killed the human-devouring fox. Please find the tutorial on Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com to complete. Clearance level 50%, rating. Ding Zhong. Number of rescuers from Shen Mansion. 0. Achievement of Wei Wu Legacy. Not achieved. Reward. 50 park coins. Activate realistic mode, allowing players to synchronize with their characters. I had a great time playing. The screen gradually darkened, and Makino withdrew from the game. It only takes 1 or 2 hours to calculate, but not to mention that playing this game is a bit challenging because there is still too much content to explore. This kind of clearance is just the most basic way to kill the boss. It's a bit regrettable that Lady Shen, who exudes national charm and heavenly fragrance, was probably killed by the devouring fox without anyone seeing her. It's a bit overwhelming. I want to do it again. Makino looked at the unfinished achievements and ratings, not very satisfied. Wait, what is the real mode? After returning to the game screen again, Makino found a realistic mode next to the tutorial level. After clicking, the entire screen instantly changes. Real mode. In this mode, rewards are greatly increased, and the selected characters have preliminary player information and sharing abilities. This mode cannot save reading files midway, and the tutorial level will be closed after 100% completion. Seeing this, Makino's heart skipped a beat. Share player abilities. In this mode, Makino slowly selects and clicks on the sealing demon. The demon's ability has undergone a subtle change. Golden Blade Technique. A mysterious technique that can endow weapons with immense power. Makino jumped up from the bed, his eyes lit up and he said, "Isn't this a spell I know? It's a bit interesting." Chapter 4. Madam Shen. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This real mode is a bit like Iron Man mode, unable to save, 1 life clearance. After getting up from bed, Makino felt quite hungry and excitedly pondered over the game while cooking some food to eat. It's almost the hour of high now, and I used to go to bed early at this time. Today, during the liver game, I suddenly had an urge to stay up late. Cooking in the Xianxia world is actually quite simple, even if you use a soil stove, but there is a special ignition symbol inside the soil stove. This low-level symbol only requires a little spiritual power injection to ignite a strong fire. Boiling some green grass spiritual tassels containing spiritual energy only takes a few minutes. There's not much meat at home, only 2 pounds of blood deer meat. I'll have to go out and make some purchases in a few days. Although meat is ordinary deer meat, whether it is steamed, fried or cooked, the taste is very delicious, and there is no shortage of seasoning here. Mining consumes a lot of energy, and even cultivators find it difficult to persevere without eating meat. Eating spiritual rice is to restore spiritual power, otherwise the mining spiritual power is insufficient the next day, and spells cannot be cast, resulting in low efficiency. It took almost half an hour to finish a meal. Actually, after eating these things for a long time, it's just that. When I first crossed over to eat this kind of rice and meat, I wished I could swallow my tongue. Makino let out a burp, counted the time, and looked at the moonlight outside. It was about midnight. After eating and drinking, Makino lay back in bed. Play for a while and then go to sleep. Since we have turned on the real mode, we still need to experience it. But I now have 50 amusement park coins, and I can also try to explore this Taiping city with the help of a ranger. However, the martial power of the ranger may be even weaker than that of the demon slayer, especially the abilities of the mind and the demon-slaying body, which are exclusive to the demon slayer. After thinking for a few seconds, Makino decided to try the real mode. Anyway, the boss has already been defeated, as long as you don't make any mistakes, there should be no problem. If you can really use the golden blade technique, there will definitely be no problem completing the basic level. Thinking of this, Makino summoned up the game interface and directly selected the Demon Slayer to enter the tutorial level in real mode. Taiping City. Makino stared blankly at the scene around him. This is a bit high in realism. Makino first looked at himself, then at the familiar scenes around him, his eyes full of surprise. There's something about this game. Previously, playing could only be considered VR glasses, but now. Makino walked to a nearby vendor, picked up a bun, and bit it down. The meat aroma that rushed towards me filled my nose, and the soft dough blended perfectly with the fresh meat with the aroma of scallions and sauces. For a moment, Makino couldn't distinguish whether it was reality or a game. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you eating steamed buns without paying? The vendor paused for a moment and immediately scolded. 1. I'll give you a steamed bun to save face. 2. There is a problem with your bun, there are insects inside. 3. Give the money. Makino. Okay, it's a game. Taking out a few copper coins from his waist, Makino went straight to the ULI Inn to inquire about the news. The interactivity of real mode has improved a lot. The surrounding environment has real-time feedback, and this game is really fun. Makino felt very interesting, and suddenly thought to himself that he had traveled through time. Is it possible that this game world actually exists? However, even if it is a real existence, it has no meaning. For oneself, it is still just a game world. As he walked, he thought to himself. Halfway through, a question suddenly came to his mind. During the normal game process, it is necessary to first go to the inn to inquire about the news of the Shen mansion before triggering the option to enter the Shen mansion. This process will consume a lot of time. But, as a player, I already know the situation in Shen mansion. So, as the character of the Demon Slayer, do I still need to go to the inn to inquire about information? If not needed, then this game is completely based on the player and character situation, real-time calculation, which is not ordinary and powerful. According to the initial evaluation of the tutorial level, the lower the casualties of Shen Mansion, the better, so it is necessary to kill the demons in advance. Mai shifted his direction directly and arrived at Shen Mansion, heading straight towards the gate. The butler arched his hand and asked, "Who is your excellency? Why are you coming to my Shen Mansion?" 1. I am a demon-sealing person. Watching your Shen Mansion's demonic aura soar to the sky, I came here to seal off demons and eliminate them. Grandpa, I am your long-lost son. 3. Theft, unlocked ability. 4. A food delivery person. 5. There's no option. Makino frowned slightly. But the difference is that in the past, I used to control the character by myself, but now in real mode, I completely become the character. Thinking of this, Makino's voice was low and he slowly spoke. At Xiamu Xinghe, he was a demon-sealing man who fought alongside Great Xia Shen in Qishui village. He passed through Taiping City and came to pay his respects. Speaking of which, Makino paused and continued. Please report to Madame Shen. The butler was momentarily taken aback and immediately sent the servant next to him into the mansion. After a moment, the servant came out and whispered a few words in the butler's ear. So, young hero, please come in. Upon hearing this answer, Makino's pupils, hidden under his bamboo hat, slightly shrank. Is it really possible? Entering the Shen Mansion, the process remains the same as before, but because I arrived earlier and there were not many people. After the worship was completed, a maid took her to the side room. On the way, Makino pondered for a long time before suddenly asking. Excuse me, why haven't you seen Mrs. Shen? The maid turned around and asked, Young Xia, what is this for? To be honest, before Xianxia passed away, he asked me from Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com to take care of his wife, and I came here to learn about her situation, too. I heard that Lady Shen has a beautiful country and a heart for beauty that everyone has. I just want to see her beautiful appearance. 3. It's none of your business. Makino's heart moved and after some thought, he chose one. This is more in line with his predetermined identity. Ah. The maid paused for a moment and glanced at the latter. Well, the lady only appears in the wing room to wash and dress up, and she hasn't seen any guests yet. However, if the young master wants to see his wife, he can go to the banquet hall in advance and wait for the banquet to begin. The maid finished speaking. An information panel appears. Achievement task. Unleash the legacy of Wei Wu. Wei Wu's legacy. Protect Lady Shen's safety and gain her trust. If the target character dies, the mission will fail. This should be the achievement in the evaluation. It seems that it needs to be turned on. Arriving at the hall, dozens of banquets have already been arranged, extending all the way to the courtyard. Various delicacies, such as braised bear paws, babao duck, braised fish maw, Buddha jumps over the wall, ma pai suckling pig, are countless, not to mention the quality, just the quantity makes Makino's eyes jump. Especially the aroma that directly penetrates the sky, the quality is definitely not bad. In this comparison, I feel like a master cultivator living like a beggar. It's truly a wealthy family, Makino thought to himself. Even this game has too much engineering work. This time, I didn't wait in the side room, but came to the banquet to wait. Surrounded by guests like a cloud, there are more and more people. Not long after, a faint figure walked out from behind, and the scene fell silent for an instant. Chapter 5 Character Chest. Heart Eye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I want to see what level of national beauty and heavenly fragrance is. The figure was graceful, and Makino couldn't take his eyes off it. It was just a game character, and he had never seen a modeling face before. However, when the person walked out, Makino's breath froze. I saw the figure walking leisurely, dressed in linen morning clothes and wearing a white scarf. She has a plump figure, and her broad mourning clothes cannot conceal the ups and downs like mountains. Her figure is tall, and her small steps are like lotus, with a hint of a goddess descending to earth. If you look at your face again, it is even more exquisitely beautiful, with eyebrows, eyes, and facial features all resembling those depicted on a painting scroll. In addition, dressed in filial piety attire, with bright peach blossom eyes carrying a hint of melancholy, charming mixed with a bit of confusion and sadness, Makino was stunned for a while, but quickly regained consciousness. The other guests were completely dumbfounded, as if they had seen such a fairy-like beauty for the first time, unable to regain their senses. As for Makino, the reason he regained his senses was not that he was tired of reading. If it weren't for any information prompts, he felt like he could take a few more glances. There's no way, Mrs. Shen is indeed very beautiful, especially with her simple filial piety attire. Coupled with such a beautiful appearance, the more she looks, the more she feels a sense of taboo and contradiction. Just Madame Shen has died and the mission has failed. Makino. Mai is a bit confused, isn't the person right in front of him? How did you die? In the next moment, Makino was startled and immediately activated his mind. The surroundings immediately turned into black and white, with only a special aura flowing slowly. And that Mrs. Shen ahead had a towering pink demonic aura on her body. It's a demon. Makino was suddenly startled. Is Mrs. Shen fake? Not a real person. At the same time. 1. Demon fox, take a knife from me. 2. Observe the changes and wait for a good opportunity. Makino calmed down and pondered for a moment. If we were to take direct action, with so many guests and servants around us, and this demon fox pretending to be Lady Shen causing them to flock, we probably wouldn't have had the chance to encounter this demon, and we would have lost ourselves. Wait a moment, wait for this demon fox to reveal its horse feet and reveal its original form. Now that Lady Shen has died, in order to pass the customs, at least we need to ensure that there are more people living in the Shen mansion, so that the clearance evaluation will be higher. After waiting for a long time, as expected, Lady Shen gave a heartfelt speech before announcing the opening of the banquet. At the moment of the banquet, Lady Shen transformed into a half-human tall devouring fox and devoured many of the guests of Zhengdakuideoyi. For a moment, the entire banquet was instantly occupied by fear and screams. Even though some guests had decent strength, they had almost no combat power in the face of the aura emitted by demons. For example, the people from the Divine Fist martial arts school were also present, but the number was not large, with only 2 or 3 representatives. It's time to take action. Upon seeing this, Makino didn't hesitate to step forward and slowly walked towards the devouring fox. The devouring fox was taken aback for a moment, seemingly unaware that someone dared to come and die directly, but instead let out a gruesome laugh. The sharp voice was extremely piercing. The next second, Makino swiftly drew out his long sword from his waist. Makino was not familiar with the knife and had not even used it much, but at this moment it seemed as if he had touched it countless times. Of course, this is because of the experience of the character of the enchanted demon, who is quite proficient in swordsmanship. With ease, he opened his palm and used blood to create strange patterns on his face, entering the state of being sealed off. Golden Blade Technique. Subsequently, Makino's heart moved and he pinched a magic spell, gently wiping the long sword in his hand. In an instant, the long sword shone with a golden light as if enchanted. Makino held a long sword and leaped up, his body shining like a red light. He swung his sword towards the devouring fox in front of him. This time, the long sword was like cutting tofu, soaking in golden light and tearing apart the body of the demon fox in an instant. All the guests present were stunned. Due to excessive fear, the little maid who accompanied Lady Shen collapsed on the ground and murmured. You. Mai glanced at her and knew that he had cleared the level, but unfortunately, Lady Shen was gone. Looking at the guests around, Makino withdrew his long sword and leapt to the rooftop, gradually fading away as the scene faded. You have killed the devouring fox and completed the tutorial, clearance level. 78%, rating. Above grade C. Number of people rescued by Shen Mansion. 56/230. Achievement of Wei Wu Legacy. Not achieved. Reward. 100 park coins, character's first treasure chest X1, real mode first pass, game park mall opens. If the player's playing time is too long, the game park will be activated to prevent addiction and will be forcibly taken offline. Please rest well before playing. Makino. This clearance is clearly easier and more relaxed than last time. Especially after using the Golden Blade technique, killing the devouring fox is a direct flash kill. This indirectly indicates that the power of the Golden Blade technique is quite evident in the sword magic ceiling. Although in the world of cultivation, this is only the lowest level of metal magic. Of course, this is also due to the fact that the original body has been using this technique for mining all year round, resulting in a higher level of proficiency in the Golden Blade technique. I cleared the level, but I don't feel quite right. The evaluation has increased. Wait, why are there only over 50 survivors? Makino felt a bit strange. I almost killed the devouring fox at the moment it appeared. There are so many guests on site, almost none of them died. How could there be more than 50 people surviving? Forget it, next time you come, what is this character's ability chest? Makino pondered and planned to open it to take a look. The game cannot be accessed, but the game interface is still there. It's just that there is a locked icon in the lower right corner of sword and magic ceiling. Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com means that access is not possible. Character's first pass treasure chest. A treasure chest that rewards players after using the current character's real mode to pass levels. It requires a real key to open, allowing the character to synchronize with the player and gain their abilities. Yes/no, use the real key to open it. Obtain character abilities. Makino's heart beats, is it really fake? Just play a game, can't it be real? If you use the demon sealing man to pass the level and gain its ability, then it is the heart eye/demon subduing body. If we use brothels to clear customs with clients, but where does the key to reality come from? Makino discovered that clicking on the treasure chest can reveal the source of the materials. Key to truth. The mysterious key that opens the door to truth, which can only be obtained by completing certain specific conditions/tasks in the game level. The amusement park mall occasionally opens a limited number of sales. Speaking of which, Makino has not carefully reviewed these rewards, such as amusement park coins. Amusement coin. A rare game currency that can unlock exclusive characters, resurrect saves, purchase and consume, with a variety of functions. Please pay attention to financial consumption. Tip. When you don't know what to use in the game, use amusement coin. Makino opened the amusement park mall, bare, with nothing but a silver shimmering key. The key to reality, 50 park coins can be exchanged, and 2 halves can be exchanged in the current season. Is it limited to seasonal redemption? Besides, this thing can only be obtained in the game. Makino pondered, does this mean that multiple liver games are needed? Take care of it, exchange it for a trial water first. Open. Character treasure chest open, obtaining demon sealing ability. Heart ILV1. Chapter 6. Are you thinking of marrying a Taoist couple? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, Makino walked out of the stone house, wearing 2 black circles under his eyes but still energetic. As he walked out of the stone house, there happened to be a man across from him who was as thin as a hemp pole and had white hair. The two of them exchanged a glance, and the hemp pole old man smiled and said, did you sneak to Xianxia Tower last night? What room did you go to? Why didn't I meet you? Get out of here. Makino waved his hand, picked up the mining pickaxe, and walked along the stone road towards the mine. "You're so empty, bamboo pole. How dare you go to Xianxia Tower? Aren't you afraid of being drained of cultivation by those fox spirits?" This person is called Zufengliu, an old worker of the Jinshi sect. Looking at his weathered face and white hair, those who didn't know thought he was in his 70s and 80s. Actually, this guy is only in his early 30s. A few years ago, I came to Qinghe Mine and almost all the spiritual stones I exchanged were handed over to Taixu in Qingefang City. Belonging to the ultimate frivolous cultivator, their main focus is on indulging in pleasure and living an extra day. "Ha ha ha, don't walk so fast, let's go together." The bamboo pole carrying the mining pickaxe, hunched and following behind the pasture, "I'm talking about you. You're such a brainless kid, why don't you dream of immortality? Why keep the spirit stone? You shouldn't be thinking of marrying a Taoist couple, right?" Zufengliu walked up to Mai and patted his shoulder. "In this world, you can't afford to marry the lame man next door, you know." "I know, what's wrong?" Makino shook the latter's palm off. "What's going on?" Zhu Fenglu sneered, "Isn't that stupid guy spending a huge amount of money half a month ago and hiring someone to introduce a female cultivator who can improve her qi? Then he left the mine and moved to the local market to get married. Guess what happened?" "What's going on?" Makino asked. "In just half a month, the nun asked for a separation, but Shenjizi refused. As a result, someone broke her other leg. I heard she crawled out of the neighborhood, but now her body is in the wilderness." Zhu Fenglu sighed, "So let's just say that with the spirit stone, we can enjoy it more. You say that even with our qualifications, we can't cultivate anything. Even if we go to the mortal world, we are controlled by those immortal cultivation families." Mai was slightly taken aback, but he didn't expect Shinjizi to be so miserable. "Well, in the cultivation world, it's quite common. The geographical range of the Jinshi sect can only protect against attacks from monsters." After sighing a few times, Muyi didn't think much about it. The steward Su who arrived at the mine had been waiting for a long time. Unlike in the past, today there was a handsome young man beside manager Su, who was whispering something in a respectful and gentle voice. Obviously, this young man's identity should be higher than that of Su Guanxia. After a while, the young man brushed his sleeves and turned around, slapping manager Su. Manager Su's face turned red, but Nono couldn't speak. Upon seeing it, Muyi realized that he must be an official disciple of the Jinshi sect, as he was able to defeat Su Guanxia, the 6th level Qi practitioner, to the point where he couldn't speak. "Quickly lower your head and don't meddle in your affairs." As many miscellaneous workers slowly walked to the front of the mine. The steward shouted loudly. "There is a reward for mining today. If you can find the red flame crystal, reward 10 spirit stones." Upon hearing these words, a group of miscellaneous workers became restless. In Makino's heart, there was also a feeling of lying down, 10 spirit stones. It took several years to dig the original body, but only a few 20 spirit stones survived. Makino remembers traveling for several months, mining every day, and earning no spiritual stone in a month. The Qinghe mine is divided into 5.5. Half of the spirit mines dug by the workers must be handed over to the Jinshi sect, and the remaining half are used to exchange for spirit stones or crystals. And often it takes several or even 10 pieces of red inflamed stones to exchange for a spirit stone. "Qianjing, who can find it?" murmured Zufengliu next to him. "I've been in the Qinghe mine for a few years, and I've only heard of it twice. This thing is the companion spirit crystal of the Qianchong. It seems like this big shot is going to use Qianjing to refine flying sword magical tools. Red flame crystal is a reliable first-order spiritual mineral, which is the main material for refining first-order flying sword magical tools. General red flame stone is just an ordinary spiritual mineral and can only be used as a secondary material for refining ordinary magical tools. As is well known in the cultivation world, among the same level, the material of flying sword magical tools is often the most expensive. What kind of weapons, such as swords, spears, axes, halberds, ribbons, bells, cauldrons, and flags, are inferior to flying swords? It's not just about how strong the sword is, but about the people who use it. There are many mineral veins on the side of Emperor Jinchizong, and the Qinghe mine has been excavated for many years. The high-quality materials that need to be excavated have already been thoroughly excavated. The deep mine is surrounded by simple lamps made of hematite on both sides, and the front is relatively bright. The further you go, the more you see, coupled with the chaotic aura emanating from the spiritual mine. The inflammatory qi is extremely heavy, and one must use spiritual power to resist it, otherwise the body cannot bear it. Mining is really not a good job. It's not as good as other people's farm workers who suffer from this burning gas all the year round. How many of them can live well? Makino couldn't help complaining. However, farming also requires principle. Renting a spiritual field with the worst fertility, weighing at least 30.40 spiritual stones, and then paying rent for at least a few spiritual stones a year can easily lead to accidents even if there is a slight locust plague. The only benefit is being more leisurely and not needing to work every day. Makino plans to save some spirit stones now and rent a piece of spirit field. In the future, he will have more time to play liver games by farming. However, currently, there is insufficient funds, which is just thinking about it. Makino shook his head, used his Peiyuan gong, and a cool spiritual power slowly circulated throughout his body, intending to start working. If you find the red flame crystal, reward it with 10 spirit stones. That's really a lot. If you make a profit. It's not far from renting a spirit field. Holding a mining pickaxe, Makino was about to use his golden blade technique to start mining when he suddenly paused and said, "Wait." Makino looked around and found no other laborers nearby. The interior of the mine was very large and complex, with not many laborers. Basically, everyone dug their own laborers in the mine. Makino closed his eyes, and in the next moment, a wonderful force slowly emerged from him. Centered around Makino, the surrounding space seemed to have turned into black and white in his perception. There was only a faint red scent circulating nearby like threads. Really? Can I really use the abilities of the characters in the game? Makino felt a strange feeling in his heart. Zhaoshuyuan.com, Part ILV1, able to perceive the disguise of demons and also perceive the special aura around them. The ability obtained by opening the treasure chest when falling asleep last night. At that time, Makino didn't feel much and didn't use it. I mainly feel that this ability is similar to the spiritual consciousness of cultivators, but the difference is that there is no spiritual consciousness during the qi refining period. Moreover, within the scope of the Xianxia sect, there are very few demonic beasts, and using them is of no use. So this is the world perceived by the demon-sealing people. It's really wonderful. I don't know how this perception is compared to divine sense. It's said that divine sense can only be condensed and produced during the foundation building period, and this perception is not present during the qi refining period. Makino looked around. In a world of black and white, there is only a red breath circulating. Is this aura true? Makino's heart twitched as he walked along this red scent. The further you go inside, the more intense the inflammation becomes. Occasionally, you encounter other miscellaneous workers who are also wandering around, probably looking for the red flame crystal. Therefore, there was no accident with wandering around the pasture. Under the cover of his heart and eyes, Makino quickly walked deep. The heavier the breath. Makino's heart pounded until it fixed. In the perception of the mind and eyes, the red light cluster was firmly buried under the extremely thick rock layer. Without hesitation, Makino directly pulled out a mining pick and dug for a while. Until a brilliant red glow appeared, he stopped. It's really crimson crystals. I can't dig anymore. There should be red inflammation insects below, and these small monsters inside the mine are not something I can deal with. Makino is a bit excited, and his mental ability is a bit interesting. I didn't expect that the character's abilities in the game could really be brought out, and quite practical. Chapter 7. Achieving the Legacy of Wei Wu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the mine. Manager Su, I have found the red flame crystal. As the sun rose, Makino walked out of the mine. Manager Su was taken aback. Are you not lying to me, kid? You come with me. Makino smiled. After speaking, Mai took Manager Su into the mine. Many miscellaneous workers, upon hearing that they had seen Manager Su on the road, followed him with a puzzled expression on their faces. They searched for it all morning, but unfortunately, they couldn't even find a piece of Xianxia. Until we reached the location of the red flame crystal. The brilliant red afterglow illuminated the dimly lit cave. What a red flame crystal! Manager Su was overjoyed. You kid, you've been lazy lately. I didn't expect your luck to be quite good. Not bad. The servants around immediately looked envious. The steward pulled out a mining pickaxe and used the golden blade technique to slowly strike the nearby stone pit. If they were to dig for this type of red crystal, it would take at least a few days to start. But with just a few hours of digging, Manager Su easily dug it out completely. At the moment of excavation, a red insect shadow flew out. Humph, look at my Gung Jin Zhan Sui sword. Manager Su whispered and used his finger sword to swipe towards the shadow, accompanied by a flash of golden sword energy. The insect shadow turned into two pieces and fell to the ground, splashing with a sound like magma. Many miscellaneous workers around tightened their minds as they watched. As a steward, the cultivation of the 6th level of Qi cultivation is far beyond the comparison of these 1st and 2nd level miscellaneous workers. The same spell, the effect of this managing golden blade spell is much stronger than what I cast. Makino chuckled inwardly. As for the Gung Jin Zhan Sui sword, its name sounds decent, but it's actually a weed-killing spell. I believe this steward Su also started his career in farming before. I have gained quite a lot today. Manager Su laughed heartily and put away the red spar and the body of the demon insect. He then casually took out a storage bag and threw 10 round spirit stones to Mu Yi. Here, it's your good luck to mine well in the future. After speaking, Manager Su walked out of the mine with a joyful expression on his face. Makino put the spirit stone into the storage bag. The Xianxia sect is a relatively orthodox sect that follows rules and regulations, and as a steward, one should not engage in any embezzlement. Perhaps, for Manager Su, these 10 spirit stones are nothing. But for Makino, it's more than a year's harvest. The day of mining came to an end quickly, and Mu Yi still left on time. This time, Manager Su didn't say anything. Liver game. Returning to the stone house, Makino had a full meal, locked the doors and windows, and hung a sign saying, "Practicing, please do not disturb." This game has an anti-addiction system and can be played until 2 or 3 in the morning at most. Although I stayed up late, I have already cultivated immortality. Isn't staying up late quite normal? Game Park, define your life after the opening animation. Makino enters, sword and magic ceiling. Try connecting to real mode again. Makino pondered. Compared to normal mode, real mode has a stronger sense of immersion, but being unable to read files means that if you die, you have to start over, which is a waste of time. Forget it, let's give it a try first and see what's going on in the Shen mansion. Choose the demon ceiling man, enter the game, and Makino quickly arrives at the Shen mansion. This time, Makino did not choose to wait in the side room, nor did he directly go to the front hall to wait for the banquet. In the conversation options with the maid, Makino chose the second option. 2. I heard that Lady Shen has a beautiful country and a heart for beauty that everyone has. I just want to see her beautiful appearance. After selecting, it also prompts to start achievement tasks. The maid chuckled and said, "My wife is naturally extremely beautiful, but she is currently dressing up in the wing room. You'd better wait." Makino thought to himself, this maid is also born clever and obedient. The maids of wealthy families are also quite agile. However, the options have changed this time. After the maid finished speaking, no follow-up options appeared. 1. I can't wait anymore. To be honest, I've been in a desperate situation for a while and will pass away after noon. 2. Pulling out the knife, little girl, take me to Lady Shen quickly, otherwise be careful that my blade won't have long eyes. As a demon sealing person, how can you use option 1? Makino took direct control of the character, drew his sword, and swiftly landed it on the maid's snow-white neck. Don't kill me. The maid's face turned pale. I'll take you to see Madam immediately. The corners of Mu Ye's mouth curved, indicating that if he wanted to see Lady Shen in advance, he couldn't go to the banquet first. The maid took the demon sealing person, turning left and right, and arrived at the quiet and elegant room. Madam is right here, the maid whispered. Makino took a few steps closer and found that the door of the wing was locked. 1. Strike the door, requires a certain amount of force. 2. Pry lock, ability not unlocked. 3. Step aside and wait quietly. Makino controlled the character and directly struck the gate with a knife. Unexpectedly, the gate was extremely hard and could not be cut at all. Obviously, a novice demon sealing person may not have enough strength. Although killing demons is very powerful, it seems. In other aspects, it's average. In normal mode, it is not possible to synchronize with the player and there is no golden blade technique. Makino exited the game and entered in real mode. He followed the gourd painting gourd and arrived at the door of the side room, then cast the golden blade technique to enchant the big sword. After several cuts, he finally broke the door open. Success. However, before they could be overjoyed, two similar devouring fox beasts rushed out of the room. At the same time, Makino saw a graceful figure on the large bed in the wing room through the afterglow, but his whole body was tied with ropes and his breath had disappeared. The next second, he was sandwiched between two demons and his body was torn apart by his sharp claws. Looking at some interfaces, Makino suddenly realized. So there are two demons. Makino pondered, one of them is in Lady Shen's room, and the other is pretending to be Lady Shen and going out to eat people. How did I kill a demon? So many people died behind the Shen mansion. This should be the final difficulty of the tutorial. To complete the level perfectly, you need to rescue Lady Shen and defeat two devouring fox demons. I understand. With a smile on his lips, Makino basically understood how to pass the level perfectly. To divide an attack, we need to first kill the one inside the room, and then kill the one pretending to be Lady Shen outside. Come back. In real mode, Makino arrived at the wing, released the maid, and then chose the third option, hiding quietly on the side and waiting. After a while, the door opened and a graceful figure walked out. Makino remained motionless as the figure left the range of the wing room. He drew his long sword and charged towards the gate, searching for a large sword attached to the golden blade technique at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. With Makino's highly skilled swing, he only took a few breaths before splitting the gate open. Subsequently, Makino directly activated the demon subduing body, state of the demon sealing man, and walked into the door with a red circuit flashing throughout his body. Beside the bed, a slightly larger human-eating fox was lying on the bed. The repeated pink breath slowly overflowed from the beauty below this demon fox. The beauty had a charming face and a charming temperament, but her eyes were hazy and she didn't seem to wake up, and her breath became increasingly weak. Sure enough. Makino stepped forward and slashed with a knife. The devouring fox screamed fiercely and quickly avoided jumping out of bed, looking at Makino with a ferocious expression. This demon fox needs to be weaker. Makino was too lazy to think too much. With the addition of the golden blade technique, even the larger one outside couldn't resist it. What is this? With a few slashes, Mu Yi directly killed her and then looked at Lady Shen, who had slowly awakened on the bed. She stood up, tidied up her scattered hair a little, covered the greasy white spring light with embroidered clothes, lightly lifted her jade lips, and weakly said. "Excuse me, who are you?" "1. I am the demon sealing person who fought together with Great Xia Shen in Qishui village. I was entrusted by Great Xia Shen to protect your life. I am an emotionless demon sealing person. This is naturally choosing one. The demon sealing people fighting together." Mrs. Shen's face looked a bit strange. "But as far as I know, all the demon sealing people who accompanied Shen Tianqing died in Qishui village and never survived." Makino. Ah. Is this awkward? At this point, a message also popped up. Achieve the task of Wei Wu Legacy. Chapter 8 Mrs. Shen. 7 days, I want to know all the information about this person. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. This game system doesn't work. I was sealed as a demon in the hall, how could my identity be seen through? Makino is speechless. However, to be honest, in real mode, Lady Shen does indeed have a national beauty and heavenly fragrance. Look at this facial modeling, this seductive figure, every frown and smile feels like it's seductive. Especially the rich charm of a mature woman, the intellectually cut water eyes, and the calm and composed demeanor formed by year-round pampering, that scent is truly amazing. But in the next moment, Makino turned around and walked away, without saying a word, towards the hall. Since the achievement has been achieved, I'm sorry, no matter how beautiful it is, it's just a virtual character. Hurry up and go to the front hall to deal with the remaining demon and complete the level. Mrs. Shen. Watching the latter leave without saying a word, Mrs. Shen's eyes were slightly confused, but she still followed out. Stepping out, many servants rushed out like crazy. The devouring fox has already gone through a difficult time. Judging from the situation of these servants, it seems that they have just started, and the timing is just right. Makino withdrew his big knife. These servants are also members of the Shen family, killing them can easily affect their ratings. If it were his first encounter, Makino would still be a bit uncomfortable, but he had already dealt with this level many times. Makino picked up a wooden stick and, as expected, lightly dodged the attacks of these servants while lightly tapping the latter's head. Just as Lady Shen happened to step out, many families rushed towards her like zombies. Upon seeing this, Makino realized that it should also be a part of the clearance process, so he came to Lady Shen. 1. Don't speak, follow behind me, a cold warning without looking back. 2. Woman, you're such a trouble, with a smile on your lips. 3. Makino. After some thought, Makino still chose 1, which is more in line with the character design of a demon sealing person. So. Madame Shen followed behind Mu Yi, her gaze somewhat eerie as she watched the latter dodge his calculated attack, effortlessly dealing with a group of servants. Finally, she arrived at the front hall, activated her demon subduing body, and dealt with the last demon with a single blow. Everything is like flowing clouds and flowing water. After successfully completing the level, Makino felt a sense of achievement. Although he had no choice at this moment, he couldn't help but watch the fallen demon and say in a faint voice. Survival or destruction, you have no choice. Cultivating immortality is so difficult and tiring. If you don't pretend to be forced in the game, it's over. You have slain 2 human devouring fox demons, completing the tutorial. Clearance level. 100%, rating. A. Number of people rescued by Shen Mansion. 230/230. Achievement of Wei Wu Legacy. Achieved. Reward. 300 amusement park coins, Character Selection Treasure Box X1, Ability Enhancement Book X1, and Key to Reality X1. The tutorial level has been closed, and Mrs. Shen's favorability has increased to 10 out of 100, slightly favorable. The Taiping City map has been opened, the town reputation has been opened, and all character friendliness has been opened. Players can choose any character to explore Taiping City. Stay tuned for the next level. Cool, Makino breathed a sigh of relief. Wait a minute. Boy, this game can still accept girls, right? What does favorability mean? That's right, as an open-world game, how could you not have a strategy girl? Makino is a bit excited. Although it's just a gaming world, how could it be missing this? Returning to the game interface again, I found that there happened to be the overall urban style of Taiping City, with a brief introduction. Taiping City. Taiping City is not peaceful, and after hundreds of years of the ethereal Xianxia dynasty, this city may be the last remaining light of the dynasty. However, in the era of demon erosion, will this remaining light fade or rise? Since you can choose other characters to explore, let's play with them first. Makino is still curious about the abilities of other characters. Nowadays, there are plenty of amusement park coins, and most of them can be unlocked except for beggars. First, let's play as a ranger. Since we want to explore and have a friendly setting, the ranger starts with reputation and goodwill. Unfortunately, when entering again, the game prompts to prevent addiction and prevent entry. Are you pretty healthy with this damn game? Makino glanced outside and found that it was already slightly brighter. Forget it, let's sleep for now and play tomorrow, he said after calculating the time. It is estimated that playing this game for more than 6 hours will prevent addiction. Dashuan, Xianxia Dynasty, Southeast, Taiping City. After the light rain, the sky became slightly dark, adding a touch of the haze of the past to this relatively peaceful city. This is Taiping City, rumored to be the peaceful hometown established by the Xianxia Dynasty. To this day, it has become one of the few remaining sanctuaries of the 3 religions and 9 streams that have been wandering around. The merchant family, the Green Forest heroes, the martial arts Yamen guards, and various sects have become tiles, providing the final protection for this crumbling city and resisting many demons from the outside world. Shen Mansion. The Shen family, which covers an area of over 100 acres, is one of the top aristocratic families in Taiping City. It was also the family foundation established by the great Xia Shen after decades of effort. Unfortunately, now that the body has cooled down, the impressive Shen mansion is inherited by the delicate Lady Shen. How should a woman's family master such a huge household business? As the tiger and wolf looked around, they didn't know how many days of peace there would be in this mixed Taiping City. A black-clothed man slowly arrived in front of the mansion in Shizizi town, where 2 people were tall. Your Excellency. The butler looked at the person coming, and in the past few days, many young people have either infiltrated or pretended to come to Shen Mansion to fight for wealth and fortune. The man in black has a hoarse voice. Xianxia was a demon-sealing person traveling to Taixu village, passing through this place and coming to pay their respects. The butler has never believed such words. This morning, there were at least 7 or 8 people who wanted to eat and drink in the Shen mansion using these words. But now everything is up to the lady. After a moment, the man in black walked into the mansion. After the defeat was completed, a maid took the man in black to the side room to rest and wait for the banquet to begin. The maid was dressed in an emerald green short skirt, which was delicate and lovely. She occasionally glanced at the person in black beside her. Sealing demons is rare in today's world. These humans who have been associated with demons all year round are rumored to be special cultivators infected with the blood of demons. They often come and go alone, and their reputation is not bad. However, wherever there are demons, there will always be a demon-sealing person present. This demon-sealing person should be very beautiful, right? The maid muttered to herself. The face hidden under the bamboo hat, although wearing a veil, couldn't tell the specific appearance, but with her deep eyes, the maid Xiaotao Now Bu should have a handsome face as cold as a sculpture. Just thinking about it, a knife fell on my neck at some point. Take me to meet your wife. The maid trembled all over, and her snow-white neck was covered in dense goosebumps due to the cold blade. Quickly, the two of them arrived in front of the wing room. You go, don't go to the front hall, said the black-clothed demon sealing ring. Okay. Okay. The maid trembled and left. Since the death of great Xia Shen, many people in Taiping City have been coveting this piece of fat in the Shen mansion. When this happened, the maid was not surprised and quickly fled. The demon sealing person waited for a moment, and when the door to the side room opened, Lady Shen walked out in filial piety. After a while, the demon sealing man drew out his big sword again and slashed open the door with one strike. The steel sword, shining with golden light, didn't want to directly strike the demon on the bed. Sharp angles make lightning fast. With just one strike, the demon was caught off guard and cut in two. The residual limbs and blood contaminated the fragrance of the room, and also made the woman who was unconscious in bed slowly wake up, looking at the scene in front of her with a bewildered expression. May I ask who you are? At Shemu Xinghe, I am the demon sealing man who fought together with great Xia Shen in Qishui village. I was entrusted by great Xia Shen to protect your life, said the demon sealing man calmly. Ah. Mrs. Shen stood up calmly, tied up the inner cedar, and put on a blue veil. While tidying up her attire, she looked at the latter with great interest. I know all the demon sealing people who fought with Shen Tianqing, but they all died in Qishui village and never survived. Besides, Muxing, this is the first time I've said this name. The demon sealing person didn't answer and walked out of the room directly. Madame Shen followed her and walked out the door. She frowned slightly as she looked at the crazy servant. These servants learned some basic martial arts with Shen Tianqing, and with a large number of people, even the martial artists who practiced secret martial arts in the martial arts school may not be opponents. It seems that the demon has already begun to challenge. At this moment, a servant with red eyes suddenly attacked. Madame Shen's eyes froze, and at a critical moment, a figure appeared in front of her like a ghost, striking the latter's head with an incredibly precise wooden stick in her hand. Don't talk, follow behind me. That cold and silent voice was indeed a unique scent of the demon sealing person. Mrs. Shen's eyes flickered slightly, and she followed behind the latter in a strange way, her eyes becoming brighter as she looked at them. This person did not use any internal strength, did not use any advanced martial arts, and even had no use for a large knife at his waist. He just held a wooden stick in his hand and easily solved these skilled servants as if returning to simplicity. This situation indicates that this person has extremely strong strength and high realm, and completely disdains using other means. Arriving at the front hall, the second devouring fox had transformed. Mrs. Shen stopped and saw the demon slowly draw out her big sword. She looked for the book garden www.zhaozhuyuan.com and saw the demon's unique red light shining around her. It was rumored that this light activated the demon's blood in her body, greatly enhancing her own strength. It is a unique ability of the demon sealing person. Especially the big sword, shining with golden light, is like a divine weapon at this moment. Survival or destruction, you have no choice. As she stood closer, Mrs. Shen heard the latter whispering like a verdict. With a simple slash, golden light permeated the air, and the devouring demon instantly turned into two pieces. Many guests, who were originally in a state of panic, were immediately stunned. Looking again, the demon sealing person had already lightly jumped and landed on the roof, disappearing into the air. Come without a trace, go without a trace. Madame Shen was stunned for a moment before finally regaining her composure and saying, Don't panic, everyone. The demon has been killed by the demon sealing person I invited. Stewardly, please send someone to clean up and continue the ritual. The faces of numerous guests were extremely splendid, with surprises, silence, suspicion, and fear. Mrs. Shen walked to the backyard, and a person dressed in black slowly walked out of the dark corner. "There is a demon in my Shen mansion, and I almost died. Why didn't you take action?" Mrs. Shen said coldly. "I can't beat it." The man in black shrugged. "I'm an assassin. I do some research, and the assassination work is okay. Madam Shen, this is a demon, and not everyone can deal with it head-on. I'm just working for you, not risking my life. Professional matters need to be handled by professionals." Shen Furen. "Okay, in that case. 7 days, I want to know all the information about this demon-sealing man, Mu Xinghe. I'm good at this job, it's up to me." Chapter 9. Proficiency in Games. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The days of mining are bitter and tiring. Fortunately, thinking about playing games at night, although it was tiring, I persevered and came over. In fact, in the mine, Makino once again tested his mind-eye ability and discovered a second red inflamed crystal. However, Makino did not report it. Joking, the first thing is that luck is understandable. If we could find the red flame crystal twice in a row, not only the steward would suspect it, but the other servants would probably also suspect it. Although the Xianxia sect is a legitimate sect, its people are treacherous, and who has no malicious intentions in their hearts. Unfortunately, my strength is insufficient. If I had practiced 6 or 7 layers of qi, I could have dug out these valuable spiritual mines myself. If it's physical cultivation, you don't even need to practice 6 or 7 layers of qi. With 2 or 3 layers, you can even mine these spiritual minerals. Unfortunately, in today's cultivation world, physical cultivation is a human servant and there are not many physical cultivators available. The reason is simple. While physical cultivation is difficult to cultivate, it also consumes a lot of resources, and many physical cultivation techniques require strict requirements. In fact, this is not a big deal. The key is that the combat power in the early stage of physical cultivation is much weaker than that of cultivators who refine and transform qi. Many times, even if a cultivator in the qi refining stage uses a spell, they become anxious before they even start their physical cultivation. If it is a high-level physical cultivation, being powerful is naturally powerful, but not many cultivators will consider it. Another reason is that physical cultivation becomes more arduous and tiring. For various reasons, not only are there fewer physical cultivation techniques, but there are also fewer people practicing them. The East Wilderness Immortal cultivation realm of Nuoda has only a few sects that focus on physical cultivation, and most of them are sects that are not as mainstream as the Xianxia sect. They have declined to this point. A day of mining life quickly came to an end. I went to the nearby Qingafeng city first this time to see if there were any miscellaneous disciples of the Xianxia sect selling spiritual fields in the market. If there is, rent a cheaper one and consider farming. After turning around, I found that even a 1-acre spiritual field had a deposit of over 50. If there are too many miscellaneous disciples farming, the spiritual field will be more expensive. Makino rose in his heart. He was really convinced. The Golden Stone sect will not give a free spiritual field to their miscellaneous disciples. If they are external disciples with a system, they can still be allocated a spiritual field, only producing 5 or 5 points. The miscellaneous disciples have to rent it themselves, and of course, there are also benefits. If they rent it themselves, they only need to symbolically give 1/10 to Xianxia. However, in reality, the cultivation level of the miscellaneous disciples is low, and they cannot practice magic at home. The care of the spiritual field is not good, and the output is often much worse than that of the spiritual field of the external disciples. Even if it is 91 points, the annual harvest is far inferior to that of the regular external disciples. There is no suitable spiritual field, and there are still many spiritual stones missing. Makino went back directly. Having eaten and drunk enough, Makino lay on the bed and practiced for a while, only to find that the bottleneck was slightly loose. The spiritual roots are too poor, the cultivation methods are too useless, and the cultivation efficiency is too low. The bottleneck is actually due to the low conversion efficiency, coupled with an average physique, which makes it difficult to concentrate the absorbed spiritual energy and keeps getting stuck at that point. Take time to endure, perhaps in a few years, you can reach the second floor. Forget it, let's play games. Entering the game interface of Sword and Magic Ceiling, I found that the second level of Sword and Magic Ceiling has already come out. The 7 Absolute Emperors, it just requires 500 park coins, and there is also a recommended strength level on it. Second grade, maximum 7th grade. This second level should be a classic strength level division in the game. Makino has always considered this kind of recommendation strength at a higher level. Try using the ranger this time, one by one. Makino pondered. Rangers have initial reputation and friendliness, making them a suitable choice for exploring large maps. Character selection successful, please re-enter the name. The picture of the Pastoral Emperor, open the big map and enter Taiping City. Makino picked one randomly. The main player still needs to seal the demon, after all, they have high combat power and special abilities. Just click on any other characters. After the selection is completed, the character of the ranger is a man holding weeds, dressed in martial arts attire, with a frivolous face and a hint of seriousness hidden in it. You are a wandering hero in Taiping City, fighting against the strong and supporting the weak, with some reputation. Entering Taiping City again is still a familiar street. Makino wanted to give the character of a ranger a try, so he controlled the character to walk to a nearby steamed bun stall, picked up a piece of steamed bun, and ate it in his mouth. The vendor's face changed and he was about to scold, but when he saw the latter, he immediately smiled. So it's you, is it enough to eat? If it's not enough, there's more here. Makino. Damn it, this ranger is a freeloader, isn't he? However, at this point, there is an information prompt. The friendliness of Baozi vendors has decreased obviously, although it has initial reputation and friendliness, free eating and drinking will also decrease. Makino did not continue to eat, but went straight to the Divine Fist Martial Arts School. This time, Makino directly chose the second option. 2. My martial arts skills are low, so I came to learn from my master. Unlike the demon sealing person, after choosing this option, the gatekeeper disciple's face softened and he smiled, saying, "So it's the little shepherd. Since that's the case, then come with me." The Divine Fist Martial Arts School is a famous martial arts school in Tianping City. If you want to improve your strength, you must go to this place. Damn it. This has an initial reputation and friendliness, which is indeed different. No one can enter the demon sealing people unless they forcefully enter. Undoubtedly a character who needs to be unlocked with amusement park coins. Of course, although the ranger is good, his overall strength cannot compare to that of the demon sealing man. Without a demon slaying body, the difficulty of passing the tutorial level becomes even greater. This is probably also the reason why tutorial levels can only be limited to demon sealing people. As he followed his disciple into the Divine Fist Martial Arts School, the disciple introduced. In this chaotic world, with demons everywhere, learning martial arts can at least protect oneself. Yesterday, at the Shen Mansion festival, a demon appeared. The scene was chaotic, and the senior brother who went over said that in a critical moment, a demon sealing person came like the heavenly descending Allah and killed the demon with just one strike. It's really amazing. It's really extraordinary that Shen Mansion can hire such a talented person. Upon hearing these words, Makino was slightly taken aback, not expecting that the reputation of the demon sealing man had already spread. Did Shen Mansion invite you? Madam Shen didn't invite me, Muyi wondered. But when she thought about it later, she knew that it was Lady Shen who pretended to use the reputation of the demon sealing person to intimidate Xiao. Madam Shen is quite clever, not simple, thought Makino to himself. As he walked inside the martial arts school, a series of shouts kept coming. A man named Qigua, with his upper body in unparalleled strength, used his fists, palms, fingers, or legs to break stones and stone tablets, looking very powerful. Makino glanced at the scene and, as a cultivator, naturally disdained it. Only mortal martial arts are nothing. Until we reached the front, there was a middle-aged man with a rough face, completely different from the other apprentices in the martial arts school. His palms were filled with a fiery glow, as if a faint flame was burning. His waving fists carried a strong wave of flames. "Senior brother, what is this?" Makino asked. "This is the unique skill of our sect, Xianxia's secret martial arts, Red Flame Fist." The disciple looked at the latter with a look of admiration, and it is also the foundation of my Xinquan martial arts school. This is our school owner, Yan Jinnan. Xianxia's secret martial arts. Makino wondered. "You wander around all year round, although you know some basic martial arts," the disciple laughed. "But that's not a big deal. To become a true martial artist, you need to learn the secret martial arts of the divine body and open up the divine body to enter the realm. The so-called divine orifices refer to the hidden orifices in our bodies. By practicing secret martial arts, we can help us open these orifices, transform ourselves, have boundless strength, and walk like flying. Based on previous experience, there are countless divine orifices in our bodies. Opening 10 orifices can make us a martial artist, opening 50 orifices can make us a second-level martial artist, and opening 100 orifices can make us a third-level strong warrior. Red Flame Fist, cultivated to the highest level, with 10 layers of great fullness, can help us open 100 orifices. With just one punch, we can melt gold and burn bones, making us a strong and powerful team." Makino seemed lost in thought. "Only second grade. This Red Flame Fist is not very good either. Can everyone learn this?" Makino asked. The disciple hesitated for a moment and said. "The difficulty of practicing Red Flame Fist is extremely high. The master of the school has extraordinary talent. When he was young, he took a red fruit, and now he can only reach the 8th level. He has opened 80 orifices. Although he can learn it, it is best for new disciples to practice other martial arts in their sect. Although it cannot open the divine orifice, it can also refine the body, refine muscles and bones, and prepare for practicing Red Flame Fist." Makino thought to himself, what else can we learn to do? Of course, we need to learn more. What if you want to break through the 3rd grade? Makino said curiously. "You young man, don't be too ambitious." The disciple scolded, "There aren't many 3rd-level masters in Taiping City. However, since you asked, if you want to break through the 100 orifices, you naturally need to cultivate even more powerful divine orifices and true martial arts. For example, the Shen Mansion, Shen Tianqing's Fuhai exclusive divine skill, is rumored to be able to open 1,000 orifices and become a 5th-level master. However, what Xianxia cultivates is only a fragment, worthy of cultivation to 100 orifices. Find the book Garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com. As for the higher one, currently the highest one is the 6th-rank Great Master, which is rare in the world as a true martial arts expert." Makino listened with enthusiasm. "Senior brother, I want to learn this Red Flame Fist." "Okay," the disciple smiled and said, "I'll have the master pass it on to you after the apprenticeship ceremony." Not long after, Makino knelt on the ground, kowtowed 3 times and bowed 9 times, and performed the apprenticeship ceremony. During the process of apprenticeship, many rules of the sect will also be explained, such as what cannot be passed on externally. The owner of the martial arts school, Yan Jinnan, has a bold and straightforward personality, with light red hair. The newly recruited disciples are quite famous rangers, which is conducive to the spread of the martial arts school. He is naturally satisfied. As for wanting to learn Red Flame Fist, Yan Jinnan doesn't mind. This kind of divine and secret martial arts is almost impossible for ordinary beginners to learn. If he can really learn, then his Divine Fist martial arts school happens to have an additional talented disciple, which is naturally even better. So if you want to learn, then teach. Xianxia, now I will provide you with the Divine Body illustrated record of Red Flame Fist for your observation. The fist technique in my Divine Fist martial arts school is also an internal mental technique, and its cultivation difficulty is high. Don't blame me for not reminding you. After receiving the self-transmission from the museum owner, a message prompts. First time learning the secret martial arts of Xianxia. Red Flame Fist, the martial arts system is activated, and learning martial arts in real mode will be synchronized with the player and shared with other characters. Red Flame Fist. 0 out of 100, seeing this information, Makino's eyes lit up. What does it mean to synchronize with players? Did I learn in the game and also in reality? Wait. Proficiency. I'll just say it, as a game, how can we not have this? Isn't this a direct liver explosion? Chapter 10. Mining Cave Practice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Give it a try. Makino controlled the character and began practicing. To be honest, Red Flame Fist sounds like that kind of street martial arts. But in practice, I realized that there is still something to be learned. After practicing once, it prompts the character's arms to start heating up, which is a way to hide the divine body while stimulating the arms. A person has 2 arms, left and right. In total, there are more than 100 divine orifices in the forest. When one arm's divine orifices are opened, the basic strength can reach at least 1,000 pounds, making it easy to break through mountains and stones. Red Flame Fist is a secret weapon that opens the divine orifices of both arms. Stimulate the divine orifices in both arms by practicing the martial arts routine of Red Flame Fist over and over again. Makino controlled the character and practiced for an hour. Then. Red Flame Fist. 1 out of 100, the proficiency has increased. Boosted a bit in 1 hour. Considering the game's anti-addiction, it can take up to 6 hours a day and reach 1 level in half a month. Assuming that the difficulty level of subsequent cultivation remains the same and 200 points are required for 2 levels, it can be inferred that it will take about 2.5 years to reach 10%. From the perspective of the gaming world, this can still be considered a highly talented disciple. The master has been practicing for more than 10 years, which is only 8 levels. If a disciple can complete the cultivation of Red Flame Fist in less than 3 years, he probably thinks they are all martial arts geniuses. Of course, in reality, this is due to proficiency and not considering the difficulty of subsequent cultivation. At this moment, the owner of the nearby museum walked over and said with some satisfaction. I didn't expect you to have a great talent in martial arts. Just by looking at the divine body diagram, you can perfectly unleash the Red Flame Fist. With so many years in my Divine Fist martial arts school, your martial arts talent can rank among the top 3. Makino thought to himself, these are just a few moves of the Red Flame Fist, the key is actually the luck and breathing in cultivation. Even if it's not a game character, it won't be too difficult to cultivate on your own. But it's still difficult to cultivate just like this in order to open one's divine mind. The owner believed that a talented disciple had finally appeared, and he was very serious. He immediately sent someone to bring a burning stove and said very seriously, if you want to open your divine mind, just practicing like this is not enough. At this moment, the disciples around also gathered around, probing their heads and minds, enjoying themselves. And some disciples seem to have already experienced the appearance of watching a play. Red Flame Fist, if you want to open the divine body, you need to place your palms in the furnace before practicing, and use the flame to stimulate the deep stimulation of the divine body in your arms. The master of the observation hall looked serious, this requires firm willpower and extraordinary endurance. Ah! Makino looked at the blazing fire. Is this at least a few hundred degrees? Isn't it so easy to learn the secret martial arts of Xianxia? Said the master calmly, if you practice Qian Fist normally, you will eventually reach a bottleneck and progress slowly. Only by using this special method can you break through the bottleneck and take it to the next level. If you can adapt in advance, then your speed will further improve, which is also a step that you will encounter in practicing Red Flame Fist sooner or later. Can't you grill your arms in the flames? Makino asked. No, the owner smiled slightly. Our martial arts school has a specially made medicinal slurry. As long as we control the grilling time and apply the slurry later, our arms will gradually recover. The premise is that one needs to endure the pain of being scorched by the flames. The vast majority of people fall at this step to cultivate Red Flame Fist. Would you like to give it a try? Makino pondered. 1. It's just a furnace, why am I afraid of it? Master, I am still a young child. If my arms are injured, how can I survive? Makino chose 1. Very good. Yen Jinan burst out laughing, his eyes full of admiration. Makino controls the character, placing his hands in the fireplace and moving back and forth. The information indicates that the character's arm is damaged, but Makino naturally doesn't feel much pain, it's the game character who is in pain. So much so that the game characters are almost expressionless, highlighting an Iron Man. In the martial arts school, a group of disciples were stunned. Even Yenjin Nan was shocked, and his eyebrows didn't even furrow. If it weren't for the pain, it was because he had extraordinary willpower. When he first practiced, although he persevered, it was a painful scream. Will my Divine Fist martial arts school finally produce another martial arts genius? With this willpower and talent, why worry about not being able to achieve great things? The grilling time is actually very short. Only 1 stick of incense has time, and my arms are just a bit burnt black. Great, you're practicing Red Flame Fist with me now. I'll personally guide you. Perhaps due to the choice, the friendliness of Yanzhenan has increased significantly and he is willing to personally provide guidance. The disciples on the side all looked envious. They don't have many opportunities to receive personal guidance from the museum owner. Makino controlled the character and followed Yanzhenan to cultivate together, perhaps by grilling in a furnace or being guided by a famous teacher. This time, his proficiency increased rapidly. Just 1 hour. Red Flame Fist. 3 out of 100, the progress has doubled. This improvement is not insignificant, and at this pace, it can reach 1 level in a few days. After practicing for several hours, Yen Jinan asked someone to bring ointment, which was brown and had a foul odor. This is the secret recipe of my Divine Fist martial arts school. Yen Jinan grinned, it's only unique to my Divine Fist martial arts school. Although it smells bad, the effect is real. If you have a good physique and can absorb most of the medicine inside, you can recover in a few days. Makino seemed lost in thought. This ointment may be the foundation of the Divine Fist martial arts school. Without it, even practicing Red Flame Fist may not achieve much success. No wonder the owner of this museum dares to generously teach a new disciple the Red Flame Fist. After checking the time, when the character's arms were covered with ointment, Makino chose to go offline. After going offline, Makino immediately practiced his Red Flame Fist in the stone house according to the divine body diagram. Interestingly, finding Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com is really synchronized with players. Makino pondered. That is to say, one can also practice in reality, although they cannot see the proficiency panel. But even without the proficiency panel, Makino feels like the improvement is not low. A cultivator who cultivates 1 layer of energy and swallows the spiritual energy of heaven and earth may not have the same martial arts talent as the fixed template characters in the game. But the advantage lies in having a decent physique, especially synchronizing the progress of the game characters. When practicing, at least it won't be clumsy. Well, it seems that my martial arts talent is also very high. Makino rested contentedly. The next day, Makino arrived at the Qinyin mine and delved deep inside. The burning aura that rushed towards him, with a hint of scorching sensation, made Makino furrow his brows slightly, intending to use the Peiyuan technique to counteract this aura. Suddenly, Makino seemed to have thought of something. I remember the owner once ate some vermilion fruit, and it was only after obtaining heavenly and earthly treasures that he reached the 8th level of cultivation. To practice the red flame fist, one must bake it in a furnace to stimulate the mind's body. Although reality is not a gaming world, I don't know if I have this divine insight. Physical cultivation is a niche in the cultivation world. Being niche means having fewer researchers, otherwise the cultivation methods would have been ruined long ago. And when it comes to this divine orifice, there are some ways to cultivate it. There is a special type of inflammatory qi in this mine. Unless a cultivator is practicing the fire attribute technique, other cultivators' bodies will be eroded by the inflammatory qi in this environment all year round. This is why they need to use the technique and consume spiritual power to resist. But if I don't resist, absorb the inflammatory qi, and practice red flame fist at the same time, will it have a miraculous effect? Thinking of this, Makino did not hesitate to find a secluded area in the mine to cultivate.